Hello, parents and guardians. Thank you for joining me in this virtual eighth grade planning conference. In years past, I've met with parents, guardians, and their student individually in my office. And of course, this year being so different, I've decided to try to get the information out to you through this video. I did meet with your student in his or her eighth grade science class today. They should have a folder that they've brought home with materials, all of the paperwork that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. They should have a hard copy of that in their folder that I sent home with them. So please ask to see that. And if you have any questions following this video, my contact information is shared with you at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to just jump right into it. I'm wanting to share with you today the most important information that I think parents need to know as their son or daughter transitions to Horace Mann High School. So I'm going to be going through a lot of different things today. And again, any questions at the end, don't hesitate to contact me. So Horace Mann has two school counselors. Jenny Stahl works with students whose last names begin with the letters A through L, and Jill Gable works with students whose last names begin with the letters M through Z. All scheduling and adding, dropping courses, post-high school planning, all of that is done through your student's school counselor. Scholarship information, financial aid, they get all of that information to parents and students. So make sure that you have this contact and you know how to get in touch with your son or daughter's school counselor as questions and needs come up throughout the high school years. So as you know, when students are in high school, they do earn grades for their classes, but they also earn credits. A class that meets once a day, every day, all year, is a 1-credit class. A class that meets once a day, every day for half of the year, for a semester, is a half-credit class. As long as students pass the class, they earn the credit for the class. Failing classes in high school means that they did not earn the credit, so then students have to retake the class until they do pass and earn the credit. In order to graduate from high school, students need to earn, by the end of their senior year, a total of 24 credits. So this sheet shows where those 24 credits need to come from. So 4 of the 24 credits will need to come from English. Students take English 9 their freshman year, followed by English 10 as sophomores. And then their junior and senior year, students get to choose what's called an English elective. So there are many classes in the English department, and students will get to choose which of those classes they'd like to take their 11th and 12th grade years. 3 credits will come from social studies. Students will take U.S. history in 9th grade, followed by world studies in 10th grade and American government in 11th grade. 3 math credits are also required. The math that your student takes will depend on what math they complete at the end of their 8th grade year. For example, if your son or daughter is currently in 8th grade math, then they would be on track to take algebra next year, followed by geometry when they're in 10th grade, and algebra 2 in 11th grade. If your student is currently in algebra, then he or she would be on track to take geometry next year, followed by algebra 2. And then after algebra 2, for their 3rd math credit, they may take pre-calculus, statistics, or college math, depending on what their plan is post-high school. Many students who plan on going to a college or university after high school decide to take 4 math credits rather than just the 3 required math credits. So those are conversations to have with your son or daughter's math teacher as well as their school counselor to make sure that they are taking the correct classes and the number of credits so that they're ready for whatever's next post-high school. 3 credits are required in science. Students will take physical science in 9th grade, followed by biology in 10th grade, and then in 11th grade, they'll get to choose what science class they take. 1.5 Phy-Ed credits are required. They'll take a half credit, meaning a semester of Phy-Ed in 9th grade, followed by a semester in 10th grade, and then they'll have a semester of Phy-Ed either in 11th or 12th grade, and here they get to choose what Phy-Ed class they take, what focus of the Phy-Ed class. In 9th grade, so freshman year, students will take a half credit in health, and that will meet that half credit requirement. And then students are also required to take a personal finance class. We encourage students to take this class either their junior or senior year. It is a half credit class. And then finally, to round out the 24 credits, students will need to earn 8.5 elective credits. And I'll give you some more information about what elective credits are in one of the upcoming slides. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, only because it does not apply to freshman students, and more information will be forthcoming as your son or daughter starts going through their high school years. But just in a nutshell, we do have the option for students to earn dual credits when they're attending at Horace Mann. So this is for students who think that they'd like to attend college or university after high school, and they can start earning college credit while they're in high school. Students who'd like to go to a technical college after high school can earn transcripted credit while they're in high school. This is where Moraine Park courses are taught at Horace Mann High School using the curriculum and the books that Moraine Park students would be using. And we also have CAP classes. CAP stands for the Cooperative Academic Partnership Program. We cooperate with the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. These classes would be geared towards students who would like to go to a 4-year college after high school, and they can earn high school credit while also earning college credit for these respective classes listed below. Again, more information will be forthcoming, so this is all I'll share about this at this time. In January, students will receive their freshman registration form. This is just a sample freshman registration form. And I'm just going to briefly go through it so you have an idea of how to fill this out. Again, all of this was explained to your son or daughter in their science class today. So in high school, as a freshman, students need to register for a minimum of 6 credits. Registering for 6 credits allows students to have a study hall once a day, every day, all year. So if your student signs up for 6 credits, they'll want to make sure that they put an X on the line in front of study hall both first and second semester. Another option is to register for 6.5 credits. Doing so allows a student to have a study hall for 1 semester, and then the opposite semester, your student would have a half credit class that would meet. So if your son or daughter would like to take 6.5 credits, they will put an X on the line in front of the semester that they prefer to have study hall. Efforts will be made to honor that preference, but do know that some elective classes are only offered certain semesters, so they may not get their preferred semester of study hall, but they will get a semester of study hall with 6.5 credits. The final option is to register for 7 credits. Doing so eliminates study hall, and then students just have classes that meet every hour of every day other than lunch. When registering for classes, students need to start with their required courses. Freshman students have the most required courses, and then every year after that, students get to be a little more choosy in the classes that they take by picking up more elective classes. So the required courses for freshmen are English 9, which is 1 credit, Physical Science, which is 1 credit, US History, 1 credit, Phi Ed 9, which is a half credit, Health 9 is a half credit, and then their 1 math credit. Again, students will put an X on the line in front of the math class that they are on track to take. So under required courses, you'll notice then that freshmen have 5 required credits, so classes that they have to take. This leaves them with 1 to 2 credits that they can play around with and choose electives for. The high school has many electives, but what's offered to freshmen are these electives listed. They have electives available in foreign language, art, music, family and consumer education, technology education, project lead the way, and business. If the class has a 1 in parentheses after it, that means it's a 1 credit class and it meets once a day, every day, all year. If the class has a half in parentheses after it, that means it's a half credit class. It meets once a day, every day for a semester. So students will put an X on the line in front of the class or classes that they choose to take. Again, keeping in mind how the more credits a student chooses, it affects their ability to have a study hall. Anywhere you see TI with a line after it, that means teacher initial. So for an example, if your student is currently in Spanish 1 as an 8th grader and they'd like to take Spanish 2 their freshman year, they can go ahead and register for that. And then they need their Spanish teacher from this year, Mrs. Carmona, to initial there. Same with jazz band, they would need Mr. Fedison to initial that they have been in jazz band and they can continue with jazz band next year. So just something to note there. After your son or daughter has put an X on the line in front of the classes that he or she would like to take, the high school does ask that students list 4 alternate choice classes. These are classes that are different from the primary choices that they've selected on the sheet. The high school asks for this because sometimes there is a conflict in that they cannot schedule students in the classes that they'd like to take. So they'd want to know what other classes would the student be willing to take in the event that they're not able to get into one of their primary choices. Please know that all efforts are made to get students into the classes that they primarily would like to take, but occasionally we do have to look at alternate course choices. Once this form has been completed by the student, he or she will sign and date. We ask that a parent or guardian sign and date. And then students hand in these completed registration forms to me. I will look them over, make sure that they've been filled in completely and accurately. I will sign off on their registration form, and then I will deliver it to the high school for students. Schedules are built for students in the order in which we receive these registration forms back. So it's in your son or daughter's best interest to hand this registration form as soon as they can after they've received it. You will also see this sheet in the folder of forms that have come home with your son or daughter. This is a tool that students can choose to use or not use, but we like to have it available to them. We encourage students, if they'd like to use this, to use a pencil when filling it out because plans and interests do change over their high school years. So this is just a planning tool where kids can, if they have an idea of what they'd like to do after high school, they can fill in what classes that they'd like to take each year and how many credits they'd like to earn each year so that they're in the best position for whatever it is they'd like to do after high school. Required courses have already been filled in on this form. So you'll see, for example, ninth grade, first semester, all of the required classes are put in here. Students would write in their elective class. And then their grade first semester, what did they earn? As long as they passed, they earned a half credit for that semester for each of those classes. Second semester, same thing, what was their grade? And as long as they passed, they earned a half credit for each of those classes. Total up the credits each year, and as long as students are earning at least 6 credits every year, that's how they know that they are on track to graduate on time with their class. Horseman has a lot of different activities, and we encourage students to get involved in activities. So outside of all of the sports that are offered at the high school, some other things that the high school offers are the academic bowl, archery team, the drama and musical performances, Future Business Leaders of America, fishing and ice fishing, forensics, and Key Club. More information about all of these clubs and any additional clubs that are added between now and when your son or daughter starts high school will be coming out, and students will have opportunities to sign up for these clubs in the future. In the spring, we will be having a representative from a program called Upward Bound Math and Science present to our 8th grade students. Upward Bound Math and Science, or UBMS, is a program sponsored by Marian University. It is a college readiness program for students who think they'd like to go to college or university, but would be first generation college-bound students in their families. So UBMS helps students make sure that they are taking the correct classes in high school. They help them with registering for classes. They take kids on college visits, help them with filling out application forms, all of that good stuff. The programming starts the summer going into students' freshman year of high school. And like I said, more information will be forthcoming. And you can also always just do a Google search UBMS, Marian University, and you will get information about this program that's offered in our community. Students, their freshman year will also have an opportunity to take the Fond du Lac Area Y-Screen. It is an emotional health screening that we give to all students in Fond du Lac County. Many students that I've had over the years during their 8th grade planning conference, parents and students have shared with me that they've already taken the Y-Screen at a doctor's appointment. So you may see this or have it offered to you at a well child check. But know that it will also be offered to your son or daughter when they are in high school. Results are confidential. They get sent to parents, but it is just an emotional health screening and check with how your son or daughter is doing with their emotional health. And then just a few high school success tips that I shared with your son or daughter. It is such an exciting time to be starting high school, and their high school counselors and myself are here to help make that transition as smooth as possible and answer any questions that you have about moving on to high school. So please do not hesitate to contact any of us. And in the meantime, I just thank you for joining me in this brief conference, and please do reach out with any questions. Thank you so much.